and welcome to the Chronic Health Collective. This is not just a community, it's your fresh start. We've gathered the best coaches and experts to help you reclaim your energy, heal from the inside out, and live with purpose. Whether you're longing for more energy, deeper healing in your relationships, or a life that feels more aligned and fulfilling, you're not alone anymore. I'm Kristi Boyd-Johnson, and today I am so delighted to be with three amazing coaches. I'll just start at the top of my screen. Kelly Fox, your Fear Mastery Coach from Fearless Generations, and her partner in crime, Fearless Generations, Terri A. Sayer, your coach for change. And last but not least, definitely not least, we have Jeannine Williams, our ancestral medicine woman and spiritual healer. So we are here today. We're going to talk about fresh starts. We thought the end of January is the perfect time to be talking about fresh starts. So, Jeannine, when we were talking before the show, you said that brought up for you working around clarity. And so tell us more about that. A fresh start with clarity just sounds amazing to me.
That's just something like I don't do the resolutions or anything like that. And I wasn't even necessarily looking to set a strong intention. But I did feel this call like toward more clarity, like, clarifying my path, clarifying my spirit, clarifying my energy. Like there's so much going on. And so that's what I was just kind of led to do. And I've even just been having this clarity ritual that starts my morning with a green juice with clarifying herbs. So like things like cilantro and parsley and celery and cucumber. Also working with mullein, which is a good herb for a lot of people use mullein because it'll clear out congestion, but it clears you out spiritually too, right? And so I've been taking my mullein tincture. I have the clarifying herbs on my altar. And so just really working around that and just understanding clarity, not necessarily being this dramatic reinvention, but just those moments when like the fog lifts, right? And clarity, as I've been experiencing it, doesn't always tell me what to do next. It's been telling me what I can no longer carry, how I can no longer perform, ways that I can no longer pretend. But that really kind of aligns with this year. This is a 1 year, right? So, fresh starts and all of that. So it's very aligned just with the energy of this year. And so I've really been working with clarity as subtraction, not so much addition, like what things need to be moved out. And a lot of that for me has been people's expectations, inherited fears, outdated identities. That's been a big one. So letting all those layers fall away so that the fresh start doesn't feel forced. Like it feels inevitable. Like this is what I should be doing. So I'll stop there. But that's how I've been feeling about fresh start and clarity. It's been a good start to the year. Yes.
Yeah. I think clarity is definitely important to get, at least on some level, before you set your intention, right? Because then it's more intentional. It's more in alignment with who you are and where you're wanting to go for this year. And so giving yourself space and time to gain that clarity, I think is really important. Like a lot of the times people want to start January 1st on this new adventure of the year, but sometimes it takes a little longer. You give yourself some time and some space to get clear and then move forward. I know we were talking earlier about the Chinese New Year. I know that starts in February, right? So maybe give yourself this all of January to then decide where you want to go for this year and start in February. And I think there's no rules of when to get a fresh start. Every day can be a fresh start. And I love that you're talking about letting things go, because I think a lot of the times we think of the new year as starting new things, right? Something to add to what you're doing right now. But how awesome to think of it as, I'm no longer going to walk into this next year with this limiting belief.
Yes.
Yes. Or with this toxic relationship that is, draining my energy, or this, I always go around and around with the job thing, because I never want to be the person that tells someone, quit your job and do what you love, because we all have bills to pay, and you don't want to get, you don't want to end up homeless. So, but you can, subtract certain things. You can subtract the attachment you have to it, and be less invested in whatever drama is going on in that workplace, and keep your peace while you're still there and you're working towards something else. So I love that subtraction. That is, yes. And, fear, toxic fear is, I'd love to hear you guys talk about subtracting that, because there's so many people.
Fear is an interesting phenomena or concept, however you look at it, because it's trying to protect us, correct? It's trying to keep us from being harmed emotionally, physically, spiritually. It's just learning that we're not going to listen to the fear when we have the clarity of our movement forward. And I know I've been in a little bit of a funk the last bit, because it's been so cold. And I know I live in California, and what I think is cold is not cold to other people. But it's just been extremely cold, and I've kind of hibernated. This month of January, I've just kind of sat back and just really reflected and just kind of hibernated. And I'm coming out of that now a little bit, and I didn't judge myself, because I wasn't, I just let myself take that space that Kelly talked about, that time to maybe make, I think what I'd like to think of it is that we make decisions, right? All the time we're making decisions based in fear, based in freedom. We're making decisions consistently. When we make that decision, stopping for a moment, is that empowering me or disempowering me? Is that in alignment or not in alignment with whatever? I mean, I have an overarching intention to live my life by. And that decision moving me towards empowering me to make good choices, to take care of myself, to eat well, to exercise, to sleep? Is it empowering me, or is it disempowering me, where I'm out of alignment? And I don't know about you, but when I'm out of alignment, it shows up in my body. It shows up in my mind. It shows up in my prayers. It just shows up when I'm out of alignment. So I think for me, moving out of hibernation and into action, that's something I'm going to pay a lot of attention to, that clarity of whether my decisions are moving me forward and empowering me, or are they disempowering me? And do I feel that disalignment, or do I feel aligned? So I think that's one of the things I'm going to look forward to as I go into February and forward, is those decision points. Do I take action or not take action? Do I engage or not engage? Do I listen? Do I not listen? It's like you're bombarded, right? You're bombarded constantly by all of this input. The clarity is how am I going to decide to react to that input?
Yes, that is, so important. I see people knee-jerk react all the time. And it's like, just take a breath. And then, so much of the time it's not even about them. It's about the person who's creating the havoc, and or what have you. And it's like, you took one breath and thought, this isn't about me. This person's having a bad day, or this person reacting to whatever. You can stop. You can do exactly what you just said. You can empower yourself and take a step back and be clear that I don't have to be in this.
Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I refer to that as a sacred pause. I mean, that's ancestral, that's sacred pause. Yeah. The other thing, Terri, that you mentioned is hibernation. This is the time for hibernation.
Exactly.
This is the time for going in. It's not the time to be outward. This is the time to go inward, because when things get really moving again, the earth gets moving again, and the spring, right? We need to be ready for that. So this is our sacred pause, right? Where we can go inside. That's why that clarity is important and all that. So we can move with intention and be taking inspired action when the true new year is, right? The astrological new year. When the earth is moving again, right? Taking our cues from the earth, a very ancestral kind of sensibility and practice. So yeah, you are spot on by hibernate. We should be sit down, everybody. What are we doing? Right?
Yeah. I mean, it felt like I need, that my body and my mind, my soul is telling me, just sit there.
Absolutely.
Just don't feel like you have to be doing everything all the time, taking action every moment, just relax, and you're going to be much more in tune with your spirit when you start to take the action. Well, I kind of have been coming out of it a little bit the last couple of days, and it feels right. It feels good. It doesn't feel stressful because I've taken this time to really just sit and just be in it, whatever it is.
Yeah. I've been hibernating too. I mean, I could barely drag myself to the grocery store and had nothing in the house. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll go, but I'm coming right back because I don't want to.
I didn't get dressed today until it was time to come out. I've been, this is how I've been hibernating. I just put my Christmas tree away because I didn't want to do that, So today I took the ornaments off and I was good with it. Because my ornaments each one means something to me. So as I put them on and take them off, I remember what I did then, what my kids did then. And it was a pleasant thing where I had been, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So it's like, okay, I'm getting that put away. I did a little bit more today. Yeah. Moving forward.
Yeah. I think it's important to listen to our bodies. I think so many times we discount, what our intuition is telling us, to pause, to sit, because we think, oh, we need to go, we need to do, we need to, be active. And sometimes it's okay to, sit down, give yourself permission to sit down, to give yourself time to think, to give yourself time to rest or whatever it is that you need to do. And that's going to look different for everybody. So, don't compare yourself to what your neighbor's doing, because that's based in fear, for one. Any kind of comparing is based in fear. And, they're in a different place on a different journey. They may need to be doing something else. So it's really important to really pay attention to what it is that you need to be doing, what's true for you right now. I know, Jeannine, you talked about letting go of others' expectations, and that is a massive one. And sometimes those expectations are assumed by us.
Yes.
And those people don't even really have those expectations of us, but we feel like they do, or we think that they do. And so letting go, maybe you're not doing something because it's not yours to do.
That's right.
And so you don't need to be beating yourself up for it. You just need to take it off your to-do list and let it go. It's somebody else's to do. It's not yours.
Yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that.
I love that too. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it's true. What you said, we feel it in our body. Like everything in me is saying, no, I do not want to do this. So why force yourself?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For me, that's been like kind of another kind of thread of this clarity is really restoring like my self-trust, connecting with my inner authority. Like I don't need permission. If I don't want to get up, I'm not getting up. I don't need to explain myself. No is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
Right? So
On that note,
going back into that space of sovereignty and not being bullied. I mean, and a lot of it is self-bullying, you know, as you said, Kelly, right? These self-imposed expectations that we project onto other people, you know, as a mother. Oh, my kids are expecting this, or you know, when I was a professor, the students are, you know, it was all this projecting of this kind of self-bullying. Oh, but I have to because I'll let everyone down. Meanwhile, I mean, no one was paying me that much attention. I mean, truth be told, right? You know, I'll even say to my kids sometimes, like, I'm feeling this, and they're now, you know, they're like, and I'm like, I can let that go. They're like, yeah, I think you need to let that go. Mom, you're stressing yourself out, right? You know, so, but that's it, right? But so coming back into that self-trust and that inner authority, that sovereignty, which is then what allows us to move forward with clarity and intention, right? When we're moving from sovereignty.
So we're gonna pause here and take a quick break. But when we come back, let's go deeper into sovereignty. I love that topic. That's a good one. All right, stay tuned, everyone.
Healing doesn't begin in the body. It begins in the spirit. I'm Dr. Jeannine L. Williams, founder of Ancestor's Bosom, a sacred space for spiritual and ancestral remembrance. Through intuitive guidance and energy work, I help you reconnect with your highest self and align your spirit, mind, and body with the rhythm of your ancestors. Together, we listen for what your spirit needs. We release what no longer serves you. We restore balance and open the path to peace, clarity, and purpose. My work is supported by spiritual herbalism, plant allies that ground and nourish your transformation. Every session is a ceremony of remembrance, a return home to yourself. Ancestor's Bosom, where healing begins with remembrance. Visit AncestorsBosom.com and begin your journey home.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Chronic Health Collective. I'm Kristi Boyd Johnson. I'm here with Kelly Fox, Jeannine Williams, and Terri Sayre. And we are about to dive into the topic of sovereignty. You know, I think a lot of people are really kind of confused over what that actually means. You guys want to kick in some ideas?
Well, I think everybody probably defines it differently. I mean, I'm sure that there is an actual definition of the word, but I think that there's lots of different ways of thinking of sovereignty, like, over yourself, right, is what we were talking, but then it might be locational as well, or generational. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it in terms of personal choices that I'm making for me, everyone's on their journey, but for me personally, it's been about, yes, I listen to people whose opinions I value, but I have to make my own choices, and that they're mine to make, and that I have the sovereignty and the right to choose that. Because from my background, it was I didn't have any right to make any choices. So that's a big step for me. And I just love the word sovereign, it evokes like I'm wearing a crown and it's my life and I'm going forward, making powerful choices.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think of ownership.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, ownership, liberation, the freedom to co-create this life that you want. When I think about just thinking of it from like kind of a African spiritual sensibility, the concept of the Ori, that the divine resides in our mind. I mean, like that. We are extensions of the divine, and so that intuition, that higher self, all the different words, terms that we have for it, like that we can lean in, we can trust that, like, we can move forward in ways that serve us. And by doing that, then we serve the greater good, and so, but for me, to sovereignty, I keep coming back to this idea of self-trust, because growing up, there was no self-trust. It was, your heart's deceitful. I mean, I could go into all of the language, right? That kind of programmed me to want everything outside of me to tell me what to do, to validate me, to, when really it's this inner sensibility that's very important. And not that it's not influenced, by others, but it shouldn't be driven by other people. And I think that's the difference for me, is that I'm so driven by everything externally. And it wasn't, and my voice was like, shush, be quiet, right? It was not to be trusted. So it's a very different embodiment to say, okay, wow, here's the information, or here, oh wow, these are different perspectives. But what is it that resonates with my spirit, with my Ori, right? The God in me. What is it telling me, as opposed to, I can't listen to myself, I need someone else to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think independence, authority over myself. Yeah. That I am my authority. I am my sovereign. And that is probably not a thought that's transferred to young people, to children. Not probably maliciously not done, but just like, as a parent or a mentor wanting to see that someone's successful, you usurp some of their sovereignty in order to protect them, and yet in reality, you're creating that dependence rather than independence, that lack of trust rather than trusting oneself. So it's really, that sovereignty is my independent authority over my being. And that, I think, is not always in our culture. Especially, I mean, I'm old enough that it certainly wasn't, there was a big difference in that concept between men and women. And as a young girl, I probably wasn't encouraged to be independent, or there weren't sports available for me to play. There was a real role differentiation between girls and boys when I was a child. And that has decreased, but not in all cultures and not in all families. And children are still being, I don't know if a parent feels better because their kids depend on them, or what it is, instead of building that independence so that they feel like I make the decisions, I'm the authority as they grow up, with direction, of course. But that nurturing idea that you are your authority, you can trust yourself. Here's the perimeters in our family. These are the boundaries that we live by in our family, to nurture one another, etc. And not everybody has that kind of a family. But I think for me, I am responsible. I am my own authority, and that gives me sovereignty.
Yeah.
That's been interesting, having children who are now young adults. My kids are 20, 18, and 17. And one of the things, particularly when I got divorced and I could kind of now have a little more, start having more sovereignty, right? And realizing too, as primarily as, a single mother, what my life needed to look like, it became really important for me to walk my children through my decision making, right? Because what I wanted to do was to instill that sense of sovereignty. Here are the things that I'm thinking about, and making this decision? And my answer to you is no, but now you know why. But now that they're older and they're like, well, mom, can I? It's like, okay, technically, particularly my 18-year-old, he lives away at school. You could be doing anything you want to do, right? So but he's home for break. But here are the things that I would think about. Right. Here are the things that in my mind, tell me, what is your intuition telling you? What is your intuition and how are you thinking about these considerations? Ultimately, the choice is yours. It's yours, but I can do that because I have some confidence now, because I did really shift my parenting to kind of try to, I didn't even call it sovereignty there at that point. It was done some of it out of expedience because it's like, I can't be in charge of everything. I'm a single mom now, it's 3 of y'all, this is too much. But I see now, even that was kind of an ancestral whisper, ancestral pull, that now that they are young adults moving into young adulthood for my 17-year-old, has served me and them very well, so definitely.
It's funny, I'm having that in role reversal with my mom, who's in her 80s, and she lives with me, and we have these conversations, and every once in a while, I'll just say I'm thinking through something and I'm talking about it, and she reacts like, oh, like, first of all, I haven't made a decision. I'm just talking through something, but it's her. I see her programming from her childhood so clearly that she wasn't allowed to talk. She had to wait on her father and her brothers. It was help your mother and don't speak up, and I'll never forget, she said this, don't embarrass your father or brothers. And she would sit there and think, what would I do that would embarrass them? She couldn't figure out how she was so wrong. And here she was a great kid. She's a really wonderful person. Everybody falls in love with my mom when they meet her. And it's like, Mom, let's get that programming out of you. You don't need to carry this old junk. And talk about making a fresh start, even in your 80s.
My mom was 100 when she passed away a couple of years ago, and we would have these conversations a lot because she still felt guilty for things she did when she was a teenager, and it was so hard for her to forgive herself because, again, I mean, another generation ago besides mine, there was a real difference. My mom was probably one of the first people in her city that went to Berkeley and graduated from Berkeley. And, just those things just weren't done by women at that time. And it was, I used to feel really kind of sad for her because she wasn't going to change at that point. I could encourage her and tell her how wonderful she was and certainly be positive with her, but she would get very melancholy thinking about the past and not being able to let go, Jeannine, just not being able to let go of what wasn't serving her to have joy.
Yeah. That joy. Oh, I love the word joy. I think I love the word joy more than I love the word love. It's because it's like, we don't have to be excited. But we can be joyful on a real quiet level within us and just be joyful. And, I'm teaching again in the schools, and I've been working with special ed here where I live. And today, one of the teachers told me that the kids said that they love that I'm there now. That Miss J is so cool. We like her. We want her to stay. I'm like, oh my God, that's like the best compliment. But in this conversation, I realized I kind of have a joy because I like kids and it's fun to be around them, even when they're being less than perfect. And so I thought, I wonder if they're picking up on that. They're energetically, they're just feeling it. I'd like to believe that.
Yes. Well, obviously they're picking up on something because they like you and they want you to stay.
Yeah. So it definitely, anywhere you go, if you have that just that inner peace, it people feel it, they sense it.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Talk about a fresh start, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fourth, and be joyful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, when we think about, like, going back to what we talked about with clarity as moving things out, we make space for joy.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times the joy that we would inherently have it can't even break through the surface because it's buried under all of the expectations, all of the regrets, all of the false identities, all of the outdated timelines, like, all of those things. Just I feel like our default is joy. It's love, it's peace, but it gets buried under all the stuff. Gets buried under it, and we lose our connection to it. But children or younger people are more sensitive to that, I think, and they definitely can sense it in adults, because so many adults are not joyful. So when they see it, they're like, oh, hey, let me tap into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do that, you guys? Do you, when someone's, when they've got negative, they're negative, you can just feel that, like, feeling.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to hear on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one thing I love about my kids is that they want to still play, right? They want to have fun. They want things to be light and easygoing, right? And so it reminds me that everything doesn't have to be serious and everything doesn't have to get done right now, and I think it's easier for them to be in that space because they don't have as many layers of fear. They don't have as many layers of this or that their fear is telling them and that they've believed for so long, and so it's easier for them to get over things. Mm-hmm. It's easier for them to go from being upset to being happy. Wow. And so they're a good example to me of letting stuff go. Just let that go. Like, I don't even remember that happening anymore. I'm on to the next thing, which my bad memory kind of helps me with that. But they let things go, they don't get stuck in it.
Yeah.
Though I've had, I feel like my kids are a lot more open with what they're thinking and what they're feeling than my generation was, or at least how I was in my home. And so I feel like yesterday I had like an hour-long conversation with my oldest, who's 23, and he was saying all of these things, and I'm like, that's not what I meant, or that's not, he brings up all of these things, and I'm like, I'm sorry that you thought that, let's get that out now. That's not what it was. So let's let go of that thought now, instead of you hold on to it for another 20 years or something, And so it's good to have those open conversations and find out what are those stories that they're already developing that we can let go of now, instead of continuing to carry them on. So they're my age and they're still there.
Right? Because that loop is deadly. That, I should have done this, and why didn't I know better? And well, if someone was saying that, this happens to, I'm always like, if someone were saying this to me, I'd just let them off the hook so fast. I'd be like, you didn't know. How could you make a decision based on what you knew at the time, and now what compared to what you know now? It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But for me, oh boy, that hook, not coming off.
So true.
Well, I think maybe we could go deeper into strategies for letting go, because I think that might be helpful for our audience. But we'll do that after the break. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned, everyone.
When you look in the mirror, do you see skin that's just dry, tired, and stressed? It's time for a new ritual. Introducing Deep Love, the blue botanical face cream by Coolness. We've captured their tranquil essence of blue botanicals in a cloud-soft formula that deeply soothes irritation and restores your natural, healthy glow. This isn't just skincare, it's an act of self-care. It's Deep Love. Find your calm only at coolness.com. Scan the QR code now to visit our website.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chronic Health Collective. I'm Kristi Boyd-Johnson here with Jeannine Williams, Kelly Fox, and Terri Sayre, and we have been really digging into things that it takes to make a fresh start, and including subtraction and stepping into your sovereignty, feeling the joy, even in the little things. And now we were just starting to touch on letting go. Do you guys ever see The Big Bang Theory where they wanted Sheldon couldn't figure out how to let something go? And she's like, imagine you're holding a pen and you just let it go. You put all of your fears in there and you just let it go. And it was ridiculous, but it says a lot about how people say, yeah, we say that a lot, let's just let it go. But then it loops. So what do you guys think? Do you have some strategies or some simple things our audience can start practicing? And me too.
Well, I think with any change, the first step is awareness. So anything you can do to help you become more aware of what that loop is. You don't have to know where it came from or why it's there, just that it is there. And how do you want to step away from it? And usually that's changing the script. And it's practice. It's not going to happen once. It's not like, oh, I'm going to let go of this pen, like your example, and I'm not going to pick it back up. You're going to continue to pick it back up. But as you practice continuing to put it back down, eventually you won't pick it back up, or you won't pick it up as often, or it won't affect you as much, right? And then eventually one day you'll forget it was even there. But it's continuing to be aware of what's going on and what's going on around you when it comes up. And when you become aware of that, then you can look at it differently, right? And you can say, oh, when I say that out loud, I can see that it's not true. Or I have this evidence of how it's not true anymore, right? Because our fear doesn't know that we are no longer 4, right? It just knows that when we were 4 and that happened, it did not go well. And we got upset and we got hurt, right? So if it feels like something like that's going to happen again, it doesn't know that we now have new skills and that we can handle situations better. So it's like, no. Remember, that's not safe. Remember, this happened. Remember, you got made fun of, or remember, you weren't able to do it, right? And so we continue to doubt ourselves, and we continue to shy away and play small, because our fear is reminding us that when we were 4 and we tried something, it didn't go well, right? So as we become aware of those things, we can say, okay, you know what? I get it. When I was 4, this didn't go well, but I'm not 4 anymore. And I have new skills, and I'm older, and I'm more mature, and I can handle things better. So I'm going to put that down and say, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to try this again, And so if we're more aware of what's going on and why it's bringing these thoughts up, then it's easier to say, okay, let me look at this. Is it true? Is this what it's telling me true? And if it's not, can I ask some questions? Can I figure something out so that I can find out what is true? And stop making stuff up, because we make up a lot of stuff.
You
Make up a lot of stuff. I mean, when
I think it goes back to what Jeannine
when
was
we're-
talking
even when
about,
we're
you know,
kids, we're
clarity.
making stuff
Oh,
up.
excuse me. I was saying, I think it goes back to what Jeannine was talking about when she's talking about clarity. When we have that clarity and we have that capacity at the decision point to decide if it's in alignment or not in alignment, or if it empowers us or doesn't empower us, at that point, if it doesn't empower us or it's not in alignment, then if that's our litmus test for making choices and decisions, we can let it go, because we know that that is not going to empower us. It's not going to help us to move forward. It's not going to bring us joy. And we can let it go. But that comes through lots of practice. That's a muscle that you have to really work at and practice in order to have that clarity that this is something, it's not in my best benefit to have in my life, this person, this thought, this employment, whatever it is, and I can let that go. And I, as a, you know, just a fanatic Disney fan, I just go ahead and sing it to myself. Let it go, you know, and that helps me get breath in my body. It helps me, you know, so I'll sing it, let it go, you know. And I think when we can have that clarity, I think it comes from the clarity that Jeannine was talking about. Then we know that isn't going to help us get further ahead. It's not going to bring us joy. It's not going to help us connect to our true self, our soul. And so we can with some assurity, with practice, say, I can let that go. It may be painful. I may miss that person or whatever it is. It's a risk, but I know, because I have the clarity, that that is not good for me. That is not my path. That is not mine to own, and I can let it go.
Yeah, for me, and this kind of clarity journey, or this, you know, kind of really focusing in on clarity since the start of this year, I will say initially, everything got so unclear. Like it was like, hi, ancestors, wait, no. Listen, the herbs on the altar, right? The juice, you know, this is gonna. But what I realized is those were all of that stuff was coming to the surface to be moved, and so these triggers, right, were an opportunity because they were coming to my awareness. Thank you, Kelly, right? And then it was an opportunity to practice my healing, right? We've said that we've worked through this. We've said we've cleared this. So here it is again. Do we just fall into the pattern? Do we engage it in the same way, or do we make a different choice and put it to rest? And so that's you know, realizing that when we are trying to have a fresh start, all the old will come to the surface, but that's a good sign. It's an opportunity to then clear it out, move it out for good. And then the other thing for me too is having compassion as I'm moving it out, realizing that the fear or whatever it is that's coming up, the limiting belief or whatever it is, served me at some point, you know, whether it was just a protective, you know, mechanism or, you know, or something like that. And I can thank it and I can release it in peace. I don't need that anymore, right? That fear, that's you telling me, that's an expression of me loving myself. Oh, don't do that, you know. But I can say thank you for protecting me and keeping me safe. But we have another way we can deal with this now, right? We have more tools, or we've kind of released that, and then also giving that space, that pause, to allow my nervous system to reacclimate to the new reality, right? Because it'll start screaming, but okay, everybody, we're good. Like just lean in slowly, like, you know, just kind of fall into our new reality, this new timeline. So it's been an interesting journey in that way.
Yeah. When that stuff comes up, one of my mentors will always say, that's amazing. You're at the right place at the right time because it's coming up. Now you can actually process that because it's been stuck, right? Yeah. And you're willing to bring that up, and then you can practice letting it go. It's not as easy as it was for Elsa and Frozen, but you know, it's still a tough opportunity to practice that. How did I feel? How do I feel now? And again, then what do I do? Because I'm in a different space.
If I can say one more thing too, like it reminds me of mullein, right? Because I got to bring in the herb mullein. It, when I give that to people when they are having allergies and things like that, and they're like, "Oh, it's trying to come out," right? And so the same thing, and it's good. So it's because it's an expectorant. It's like, oh, we're trying to get this stuff out of here, but I got to bring it so that you can expel it. And it does the same thing. Spiritually and emotionally, when you take mullein or you walk with mullein tea and all that, it will do that clearing. You will have the physical clearing, and you will also have that kind of spiritual and energetic clearing. So I just can't. It is just amazing to me that what grows from this earth gives us everything that we need. Spirit, mind, and body. So yes.
So true.
Definitely. And there's so many modalities out there. I'm sure there's someone near you who does some kind of energy clearing or, mindset work or something. I do EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, where you tap. It's tapping, if you're more familiar with that term, where you tap on your body in different areas to release and move that energy. So if it's something that's, you feel like you want support with, there's people out there that do those sort of things as well that can support you, coaches, who can talk you through it. Obviously, there's support. You don't have to do it on your own, right? One of my favorite quotes from Rhonda Britton is, "No one's fearless," or no one, now I can't even say it.
No one is fearless alone.
Yeah, something like that. So, so we don't do it on our own, right? We're all here to support and help each other. So, release that fear and ask for help.
Yeah. And, another thing is stop denying yourselves the activities that you love. Like if you just love yoga and you don't go. Because do what you love, even if it's one time a week or something. Just go do something you really, really love, just because. And give yourself permission for that to be okay. And if you have to, subtract something out that's you don't love, that you really hate, or something. Like I don't know, make your husband take out the trash and you go do yoga. I don't know, but whatever. But I think if we all give ourselves permission to, I think we deny ourselves so much.
Yeah.
And so, what is there something you guys are nodding? For me, it's swimming, but it's so freaking cold here.
You find an indoor pool.
It is an indoor pool, but it's hard. It's the thought of the getting
in the car
pool to the car.
I hear you.
But that's just an excuse because I really love it when it's so like whatever, it doesn't matter what it is.
And I think that's such an underrated healing modality, pleasure and play. We could do a whole show on that, y'all. But even the word pleasure makes people cringe, but that is a healing modality, right? Allowing pleasure, and that moves out all that stuck and murky energy. So the things that give us pleasure, yoga, swimming, journaling, whatever it is, right? Really leaning into pleasure and play. It's a very powerful healing modality. It just is. And I think it's so underrated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now I wish we had another hour. But so joy. And I have to say, I really love everything you guys said. I love the let it go, but I also like set it down, because that image makes you feel like you can just go, oh, and like a heavy box or something, to set it down and walk away. And the clarity of that, like feel the lightness and the clarity that comes with, I don't have to carry that anymore. And I think instead I'm going to go, go on that yoga class or take that cruise or yeah, that's, you guys are amazing.
You are too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been a very enlightening discussion. I took quite a few notes. But
Oh,
I love the pleasure is a healing modality.
yes.
I know that to be true because for me, I love to sing. When I sing, the visceral response I have in my body is joy. And so when I can think of those times when I have pleasure, happiness, joy, whatever we call it, it is a healing modality. And I've never heard that said that way. And I wrote that down. That was very helpful to bring clarity.
Yeah.
And it's a fresh start.
It is
Yeah.
a fresh start. Yeah.
My kids tell me all the time, you need to have more fun, Mom.
Yes. Yeah. And there is something about singing too, right? Releasing the throat chakra is also like singing, humming, all of that is connected to the sacral chakra, which is where our pleasure and our creative and life force energy reside. Like it's very connected. So yeah, I love that. So singing as pleasure, right? And yeah, absolutely.
It is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Is somebody taking notes for this is like the next show. We need to do a whole segment, a whole show on that. Like really.
Terri, you have to send us the cliff notes. Well, listen, you guys, since I would like to ask you individually how people can find you out in the world. So let's start with you, Jeannine. How can people find you and connect with you?
The best way to find me is ancestorsbosom.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on Threads a lot more too, so you can find me there. But ancestorsbosom.com is the best way to find me. And if you are in the Maryland, D.C. area, I was sharing with Andy at the beginning of the show, or before we started, that I am opening a retail space, a full-on apothecary. So I'll have some in-person opportunities as well coming really soon, but I'll be filling people in on the details on that. But for right now, ancestorsbosom.com.
Excellent. And Kelly, and you guys, you take it away.
Well, you can find us at fearlessgenerations.org, or we're everywhere. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram as Fearless Generations, or you can find us as Kelly Fox or Terri Acer, if you want to find one or the other of us. And I'm on Facebook more than the other two, but you can always reach out, and we'd love to connect.
Yeah. And you can also find me at terriacercoaching.com. That would be where my individual work is. I have a daily minute with Terri called Terri Talks that you can watch on YouTube or on, I can email. You can come directly to your email, which is just kind of a little 1 minute blurb of positive thinking.
Which is a nice clear way to start the day.
Yeah.
Your retreat that's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
where is that? Is that in California?
It will be in California in the foothills near Yosemite, and it's going to be beautiful in October, so it won't be too cold yet, and it shouldn't be too hot. So it's a good time to come.
You can find all about that at the fearlessgenerations.org.
Oh, thank you. That was you read my, now she's reading my mind. So, but that was my next question. Well, thank you, you guys. I've got a little new thing I'm starting, called the Narc Detox Club, which is to help people who are recovering from narcissistic abuse get past, get through the healing, past the victimhood that we all feel from it, and then into thriving. So that's just starting. So, but this is getting into joy after abuse is a marvelous thing. So
important work.
Oh, yes. So I have to say, I am so honored to be part of this Chronic Health Collective with you ladies. You are amazing. And thank you so much for for joining me on this show today. This was fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we invite everybody out there to get your fresh start going. Okay. So for our audience, if today's episode spoke to you, don't go it alone. Book your free consult with one of our expert coaches at chronichealthcollective.com for personalized support. Subscribe to our monthly magazine for expert tips from all 11 coaches to elevate your health, mindset, and relationships. Catch us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, or watch past episodes anytime on E360 TV, or you can find us on YouTube at Chronic Health Collective. Thanks for tuning in. Your transformation starts now. See you next week.